It is the fastest growing international crime network that the world has ever seen.
We got to come together and figure out how to fix this because it's not an American problem. It's not a Puerto Rican problem. It's a human problem that's happening all over the world, and it's just awful.
Welcome back to the Maeband podcast. I'm Holly.
And I'm Bryan.
So today we're going to talk about a red carpet premiere that we were invited to attend.
Yep. Very cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. It felt kind of special.
We even dressed up.
Yes, we did.
Well, I wore something a little nicer than this. That's my dress up.
So we were invited to this red carpet premiere by Angel Studios. They reached out to us because we did work for them through YouTube, through the KJ
video
crew.
for the KJ, with the KJ crew.
And so they invited us out to the Sound of Freedom red carpet premiere. And so we went and we attended. I kind of knew what it was. I'd seen previews and I was super excited to see it. Bryan apparently thought it was going to be like a documentary.
So I knew what it was about because we know Operation Underground Railroad. Like Holly's donated to them.
Yeah. So it's actually been, so every year Maeband donates to a charity. And one of the years I donated to Operation Underground Railroad. That was just a couple of years ago. Yeah. And I donated $1 from every Maeband sold to these companies, to these nonprofits. Yep. And it's always been a nonprofit that Bryan and I have really liked. Like we think
they're doing amazing things.
Yeah. It's just like such like of all the different causes out there, like what better
I don't know why
than to save children.
Yeah, exactly. Like I know there's a million bad things out there. You know, there's disease, all these other like natural disasters, like all this other stuff. But it was just like this one for some reason really gets me. Like it's just like I've talked about it in podcasts before. Like I need my freedom. Right? I have to have my freedom. So I see all these people, millions apparently around the world that are just enslaved, and it just drives me nuts. And so it's just something that we've both been passionate about. We've always, like, even for the main channel, our KJ Crew channel, I've always like, oh, maybe we could do a funny video because we do like funny skits and stuff, like do a funny video and incorporate, things that we've learned from Operation Underground Railroad, like about trafficking. But we just haven't been able to figure that out. But yeah, so let's talk about the show a little bit, or the movie. What'd you think?
Really good. I mean, the whole theater was just like
dead silent the whole time.
Just so quiet. I honestly like didn't expect an amazing movie. I was just excited to see it because it was Operation Underground Railroad, like I knew it was Tim Ballard's story. And so I love any movie that's based on like a true story or based on real life. Like
Holly loves that.
Oh yeah. And if it has like a moral to the story or whatever, like that is just, I love those movies. Like, those are my things. And they can be the dumbest movies and not done very well, but I'll love it just because it's based on a true story and has a good message. Yeah. Right.
And so this was, I forgive me, I don't know the name of the director, but Eduardo Astigui or something like that. Anyway, so neither of us were really expecting like a movie the way it was. But when I started watching it, was like, holy cow, this movie is like, it was done so good.
Yeah.
Like I just
cinematography,
everything,
camera, like
the director's storyline,
like everything.
Yeah, everything.
And it was such a sensitive topic too. Like I didn't know, like, how are they going to pull this off? It's PG-13.
Yeah, PG-13.
Like how are you going to show this without being just like overly?
So and that's the thing. I think they did a really amazing job because like they're showing how bad it is without showing how bad it is. Yeah. Right? If that makes sense. I mean, now that this is coming out, like I'm assuming most of you guys have probably seen it because it turned into a nationwide.
Didn't you say it just hit 10 million?
100 million.
100 million.
Just hit 100 million.
That's amazing.
So when we were at the theater, the director and the producer and Tim Ballard, they were all there, and
their goal was to hit like 3 million, right?
Their goal was to hit 2 million on opening week because. They were just like, they were going up against Indiana Jones.
Yeah, they're going up like, and the summer is like the hardest time to go up. Yeah. And then all these movies that are like all these Disney movies that are going up. And then on July 4th.
Yeah, they put it on July 4th.
And there was like a lot of crazy story behind that too. Like the July 4th.
So it was the CEO of Angel Studios was there. And that's what he was saying. He was like, they bought the rights from Disney, I think, or Fox or somebody. They bought the rights and they're like, please just let us hit 2 million. And then it went crazy.
Yeah.
And it deserves everything it has because it literally is one of the best movies I've seen covering such a heinous topic.
It is. And the child actors in it too.
Amazing.
They were so good. And just like as a parent, and then like the father of like the boy and girl, because that's what the story's about. It's not even, I mean, it's a little bit about Tim Ballard, but it's really a story about the children.
Yeah, there's two kids.
And there's two kids in it. And it's like their story. And it's how Tim Ballard got into it because of this little boy and this little girl.
Yeah.
That he got into it and just wanted to save the children.
It's like right at the beginning, it just gets you because you're like watching this and you know what's about to happen.
Yeah, you do.
And,
like the dad is there and
it's just
and
awful.
Just so unsuspecting, like, oh my.
And then thinking about that it really happened to some poor dad. Like I don't know how I could go on living. So this really happened to some poor guy out there. I think it was in Peru, or it started out. They bounced around between a couple different countries, but yeah, you know what's about to happen. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't watch this. I was literally teary-eyed probably at least 10 times during this movie.
And that's saying something, because I think I've only seen him cry 10 times in our whole marriage.
And 9 of them were probably over Braveheart. So, but this was amazing. And so, yeah, I was just like covering such a, like, it is insane. Then they start throwing out the stats of how many people they estimate are in this world of trafficking. And so I'm just like, oh my gosh, what was it, like between 3 and 6 million kids? Something like that. It was like, sorry, I'm not good with memorizing things, but it was. And
the biggest consumer is the United States.
The United States, yep. And so that was also a shock to me. I don't know why.
I guess it makes sense because we have the most money, right?
Yeah,
kind
money.
of. I mean, I guess we're in a lot of debt too, but like we have a lot of money, so that's where the money's coming from. But it's happening in all these other countries so that they can get money from. Yeah. The United States.
Yeah, it's a disgusting thing that's happening. But yeah, I've read a lot of comments and a lot of the critics, and I don't think I've read, like I get on IMDb just to read the comments and see what people are saying. I don't think I've read a single comment that said this was done poorly, or this was a bad movie, or this was stupid. Every single one of them that are bad was just like, oh, I don't think this is really true.
Yeah. I don't know how this has turned into a political topic.
Yeah, I have no clue.
How in the world is this like political? I mean, I guess slavery back 100 years ago was political.
Yeah. But I don't get it. I don't get it.
Like, how is that political? But you knew with slavery, like you knew what the wrong side was, right?
And we know what the wrong side is here. If you enslave people, you're on the wrong side. Sorry.
Or if you're against the people that are trying to not enslave people.
Yeah, it's insane. It became political. I'm still trying to figure out why, but like people are like, oh, this isn't entirely true. I'm like, who cares? Like, who cares? Even if it isn't, which I don't know how you could argue, but who cares? You're bringing attention to something that's going on. Like it is literally happening out there. It's not a conspiracy that these things are happening. Everybody knows this is happening. The Homeland Security, where he was working, had a division working on this
child trafficking.
And so you know it's happening. After watching that, I feel way more comfortable about giving money to Underground Railroad, because I know just seeing what some people have to go through and what these kids are suffering through, right? You can never really, unless you're going through it. So it's just awful to think about. And then obviously, I don't want this to be a spoiler in case you haven't seen it, but it's a good ending, I guess, for as good as it can be.
You have hope.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit of hope. But yeah, it is. And for all those men, you're going to feel very emasculated by Tim Ballard. I'm just like slinky down in my chair. I'm like, oh, what have I done with my life? And he's just like this superhero. But yeah,
it's funny if you actually like go to him and what he says. Like he's like. Humble. He's like, they made me out to be more courageous than I was when I first made that decision. Yeah. He's like, it was really my wife that pushed me to like quit and like start this. Yeah. But still, like both of them. But yeah, him and his wife, amazing people. I mean, I guess they always say that, right? Behind every great man is
and a better woman, I don't know, amazing woman. I don't know. But yeah, it was a really good show. And I mean, kudos to people that are willing to stand up and do stuff like that, like he did. He was willing to risk his career. And he went out there and started making a difference. And now, like, I think about, I'm like, how many kids has he saved through that one decision? You know, how many people have, and I know they're still continually working on this problem. They go to, because I know a big issue with this is like when there's a natural disaster of the predators, man, they go after the weakest. Like, you know, you go through a natural disaster, something like that. That's the prey for them. And so like with the whole thing going on overseas right now between Russia and Ukraine, I know that they're over there trying to help because that's a big problem over there right now because there's people being displaced. I don't know. It's just, it was a great show.
And it's just Bryan and I have seen it. We haven't taken our kids.
Yeah, we are going to take our kids.
Which kids are we going to take?
We're going to take our 3 oldest, I think. So our 20, our 18, and our 14. I don't know if I'm ready to show my 11-year-old, but there is one. This is one thing that I thought was really cool. Like after we saw the movie, the director was talking about the little girl that was in it. And there was a scene where she was in the bathtub. Obviously you couldn't see anything, but she was in the bathtub crying. And what did he say? It was like that. So
he said that they hadn't told, like the kids didn't really, they were very careful on what they told the kids and like what was happening, you know, and what they were acting and stuff. They were very careful. Like they didn't want them to know, but the girl had found out about, I think the girl's story that she was playing and found out a little bit more because she was older than the younger boy.
And so they told her.
And so she found out like what was happening and who she was playing and like the story of these girls. And that was her real reaction and her real tears as she sat in the tub crying. Yeah. And he said that the whole cast and crew, there wasn't
everybody
a dry eye.
Was crying.
They were all like watching her act and crying with her.
It was just interesting to listen to all of the coincidences and the miracles that happened to get this movie to where it was and releasing on July 4th. I think that was a date of when this happened, right? One of the days or something like that. It was
July 4th was the day that the girl was rescued.
Yeah, the girl was rescued. So it was just kind of cool that they put that out. And now apparently I heard the girl and the boy are going to come out and kind of tell their side of the story. So I think that'll be cool.
They're probably adults now.
Yeah. Yeah. They're probably like, 20 or so. Yeah. But so that'll be cool to hear that from them, like to get their perspective. But yeah.
Yeah. So what they wanted this movie to be about is like bringing obviously awareness to this problem. So there's a famous book written on slavery, Uncle Tom's Cabin. And it basically brought awareness to slavery back and it like made everyone like upset by it. And they attribute that to the reason that basically slavery ended is this book. So that's what they want this movie to be. They want this movie to be like an Uncle Tom's Cabin of today to be able to bring awareness to it because obviously people watch movies, you know, and they don't read books as much anymore, but people love movies now. So to bring awareness through it and to tell their story through this movie. And I think obviously they're doing great.
Yeah. And I don't think very many people are aware of the extent that it's happened because like I said, I've been following the movie and I'm seeing thousands and thousands of people like, I had no idea this was going on. Like, you know, people know that it's happening, but when you see it, the way they did it, it's just like, oh my gosh, we got to do something. Mm-hmm. So I think that everybody now is like got this sense of we have to figure out how to fix this because it's a bigger problem than I thought it was. And it's a disgusting, awful problem. I think everybody's like now is like, okay, we gotta come together and figure out how to fix this because it's not an American problem. It's not a Puerto Rican problem. It's a human problem that's happening all over the world. And it's just awful. So I would encourage everybody to go see it. It's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Absolutely.
I love it.
One of the best movies I've ever seen.
Yeah. And that's not just saying because of what it's bringing to light.
It's also
an amazing, well-done movie.
Done very, very, very well.
Yep.
So if you've seen, let us know if you're going to see it or if you've seen it and tell us
what you thought about it.
Yeah. Tell us what you thought about it. And
if you plan on doing anything.
Yeah.
Donate. Donate.
Yeah. Donate to Operation Underground Railroad.
Yep. Okay. See ya.
And thanks for watching Maeband.
Bye.
Bye.